Good morning, everyone. Well, morning for me. I don't know where everyone's located, but it's really nice to see everyone on today. We're going to be going over the Windows app in specific today. We'll be producing some other webinars that go over some of the other apps. So this one's specifically for the Windows app. So we'll kind of go over how to install, how to take some screenshots, screencasts, an overview of the drop page, and then dive into some settings as well as the dashboard. So I'll go ahead and stop my video and then share my screen.
And let me just add one other thing that I forgot to mention. If you have questions, please put them into the Q&A at the bottom. That allows you to ask your question as well as allow us to answer to you specifically, as well as to answer to everybody if that's a question that's relevant to everybody.
Yep. All right, so first things first, you need to download the Droplr app. So you'll be starting by navigating to droplr.com, and then you'll click on this apps icon, and then you'll be able to find the Windows download easily here. And I wanted to go over this because every now and then there's some confusion on where the app sits. It'll download directly to your desktop right here. So I have this Droplr icon, and if you click on this, it'll open the Droplr app right down here in the system tray. So as long as you see this drop icon here, you're ready to go. So I already have this downloaded on my app. So I am going to hide my desktop so you can see my screen a little bit more. So the Droplr logo will sit down here in the system tray, and how you use it is you'll be able to click on that, and this nice little command center sits right here. So there's lots of things that we'll go over. And so I'll start beginning with this, a screenshot. So we have these hotkey commands on the right that you can use, or you can come up here and just select this with your mouse. And this screen will appear. It's a little bit gray, so you'll just drag on that area of your screen with your mouse. And when you're ready to take that screenshot, you'll just let go. And that link will copy into the cloud and create a new short link. So these Droplr short links are typically 8-9 characters long, and it's unique code that goes right to the image that you've captured. So this opened up in a new browser, but I can easily come into Slack here, and it copies right to my clipboard too. So I'll press Control-V to paste, and then hit Enter on my keyboard. And that screenshot directly previews there. So we do have a Slack integration. If you're collaborating with other team members, they can easily click this edit on Droplr icon, and it'll go into some annotation features, which I'll go over next. So that's a really easy way to get your screenshot, your point across a little bit faster using that specific tool. So the next thing I'll go through is the screenshot with markup. It'll appear the same way as before. I'll drag on any area of my screen. And this will open up a new application window that's web-based. And so you'll be able to see all these annotation tools here. So the first one, you can select a different color option. Maybe I want to use purple because that's Droplr's color. And then the next thing here, I can point an arrow, and we've got some other options here for you to choose from. You can change it to a line, rectangle, filled rectangle, oval, and a filled oval. So once you've selected that, you can draw an outline around something. And then we have a pencil and highlighter option as well. So maybe you want to shadow something or just point out something in a little bit more detail. The next one's my favorite, which is emojis. You can add those to your screen. And then we've got text. So we have some different text size options here. And then the last thing is blur. So if you have any client information that's sensitive, you want to blur that out, you can easily do so like that. So this hasn't been uploaded into the cloud yet. I have to push save. So once I do that, that will upload as a new short link. It opens up in a new browser, and I can then paste this somewhere else. I can paste it in Slack. I'll show you how I paste this in my Gmail. So Control V. And I use a preview service called Mixmax. It's free. It'll preview my Droplr link right inside the Gmail there. So a super easy way to do that as well. So that's screenshot with markup. So coming back to the Droplr app here, we have some other screenshot options. This is full screenshot and then full screenshot with markup. So the difference between these two is I can draw on any area of my screen, make a select option there. This will just take my entire screen. So if you just want to capture everything that you're seeing and go from there, we have those as well. Coming down to here, we have our screencast options, and we have two different options you can choose from here. Screencast is going to include audio. We just released partial screencast recording, so you'll be able to get have the option to take your entire screencast or a partial screen recording. And then we have screencast as GIF. So that's not going to include audio. So I'm going to show you an example of a screencast. So here's those two options I was just talking about. If I select the entire screen or the select area, I have those there. And then down here, I have my audio options. So maybe I don't want to record this with audio. If I do, I'm going to make sure to check this before I start my screencast. So I'll select this selected area and show you how that works. Just like a screenshot, you'll drag on any area of your screen. You'll know it begins because there's this box outline. And the recording count, the recording timer is going to appear on the right-hand side of my desktop. So now I'm recording. I can scroll to different pages. I can change tabs. Whatever I want to show on my screen, I'm recording now. So as soon as I'm ready to be done with that recording, I'll go over here and hit stop. And it takes a second, but it uploads into the cloud. And I have my preferences set to open up my Droplr links in a new browser. So it's just going to automatically go there, and it's going to copy automatically to my clipboard. So I'll go ahead and hit playback. So you can hear there my audio was recorded. I can share this easily with anybody, and it's a super fast, easy way to record your screen and show a process, report a bug, whatever you need to do to show that. So a little bit more in depth than just a general screenshot. So coming back down here, we've got some other options too. Droplr is not just a screenshot and screencast tool. We have some other unique features like share file. So if I have something sitting on my desktop, I can hit this and I can just directly upload that file to Droplr. We have, so if you want to upload a PDF or an Excel file, we have a service called Document Preview, and that will upload that PDF right to the cloud, and it'll show you a nice inline preview of that file. So you'll be able to come in here, select that folder file from your desktop, and there's a couple of other features that are a little bit more detailed down here. So going through this menu, the last part here is a history of your last 10 drops. So you have a thumbnail preview. You can kind of see the screenshot you took. If you want to come down here and grab something that maybe you took 5 or 6 screenshots ago, you can just select that, and that'll open up in a new browser. And it also copies it to your clipboard as well. So super easy way to see those. We can title these. I'll go through that next. So that's kind of the entire menu with the Windows app there. So I'm going to go into a little bit more detail on a specific drop page. So this is a drop I took earlier this morning. This is what you'll see every time you take a screenshot, upload a file, use screencast. It's going to have some specific options for you to use. So the first one is this download option here. You share this to a client, maybe they want to save it locally. They have the option to do that here. And then we also have markup here. So if you took a screenshot and you now want to annotate it, mark it up, and share it with somebody, you can select that. And it's going to create a new drop where you can then annotate that drop and send it back. So that's just an easy way to get to the markup option. The next thing is our side panel on drop pages. This is a little hidden, so this is really exciting to show people who have never seen this before. We have all this file information here, and if I want to rename this drop so I can refer back to it later, I can go ahead and retitle it there. If I want to grab the link, that's a really handy way to do that. And then we have some of our privacy settings right here. So this is going to allow me to change the default settings on who can see this drop. So all my drops are set to public. So if I share this drop to anybody, they have access to it. Our team only feature is an enterprise only feature. Anyone within that enterprise team has access to this drop if it's shared. So if this drop goes outside of my company, my team that I've defined, then they won't be able to see this drop. So we can set specific drops, maybe it's some sensitive information, to team only there. And then this last feature is private drops. So maybe I want to control who sees my drop based on setting a password to it. So I'll just show a little example here. I want to set this to private. I can either generate a password or I can put my own password here. So now that this drop has a password on it, I can go ahead and open up a new incognito window. I'll paste this drop, and if I share this drop, the end user is going to see this page. So they won't be able to have access to this drop unless I type in my password, which was testing. As soon as they do, they have access to that drop. So it's a little bit easier way to make sure your files are secure. And if you want to share this drop with a longer URL, a lot of people do that as well. You can just put a backslash and then the password at the end of that drop, and then you'll be able to have access that way as too. So I just wanted to go over that in a little bit more detail. The next thing here is manage drop self-destruction. So this creates an expiration date around the drop. We have a bunch of controls here to do that. I don't know why it's going up, but we have a custom option here. We can have it set to expire in 1 day, 1 hour, 1 month. So that drop will destruct at a given time period. So it'll be removed from our system, won't be able to retrieve it on our end. So when you do that setting, you want to make sure that you won't need that file again. And then lastly, over here, we have the extra options, just another quick way to mark up. We'll get into boards in a little bit and tags from the dashboard. And then lastly, if you want to delete this drop here, you can go ahead and do that. The next thing is our file options. So if you don't want someone to be able to download your content, you can toggle this off. That download option just disappeared here. Clone permission, if someone else has a Droplr account, they have the ability to do what's called copy drop, so they can recopy your content and create their own Droplr link with that. So if you don't want them to be able to copy your drop, you can take that option away. And then we have this powered by Droplr branding at the bottom here. So if you want to remove that specifically on each drop, you can toggle that off. And then we just have some file details here. So the size of that drop, we can add it to boards, and then tags again from this area here. And then the last thing within the side panel file information is the number of views that that file got. So if you have a salesperson sending out a contract or an invoice, and you want to see if that client viewed your drop, you'll be able to see if someone opened it by tracking it from the statistics here. If that drop was shared within your team, you can come up here and click on activities, and you can see I'm the only person who's viewed this drop. So if I slide this over to the owner's activity, I can track how many times I've viewed it. And then if I share this drop with someone within my team, their image and when they viewed it is going to appear here. So it's a pretty neat little tool to track the views in a little bit more in depth there. So that's the drop page itself. And then I will go into a little bit more Windows settings next. Was there anything else on that, Nick, that I should go over there, or did that sum it up pretty well?
Yeah, I think that summed it pretty well. I think one of the questions just come up that you may want to answer globally is whether there's a way to prevent drops from being edited by others when you share it.
Good question. Yeah, so you have, as the drop creator, you have complete control of that drop, and no one else is going to be able to rename that drop for you or do any of these things. So if you share this drop with somebody else, so I'll just show in a new incognito window, it's not going to recognize me as the owner of this drop. They'll be able to see this side panel, but all they'll be able to see is just the file size and the views of the drop. They won't have the ability to rename, do any of those in-depth admin controls essentially from that drop. So hopefully that answers that question.
Let me, Nicole, maybe let me add a little bit more nuance that the person can click on the markup on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if they mark it up, they're changing and saving a new version as opposed to the original version. So if a person's going to take your original one and mark it up, they're able to mark that up, but they're not able to mark up the original one. It saves it as a new one. So that
Correct.
if you shared that original drop with 100 people, they're not seeing that new version. They're seeing the version that you've shared with them.
Correct. Yes. So every time there's a markup or a change within a drop, it's going to create an entirely new drop. So if you have a drop embedded on a web page somewhere and someone else decides to open that drop, or you share a drop, just like you said, that original drop won't be changed. So everything is a new creation, new Droplr link. We don't have the ability to go back and edit that same URL link, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and from a versioning perspective, it's really nice that you can see how there may be an evolution of how people have commented on on something that you've created. So when you're working in a workflow, you can see your changes, and you can see changes that other people have made, other comments that people have made.
Yeah, for sure. So within the Windows app, there are some preferences that are specific to this app that I wanted to go over. So you'll come down here where I just clicked and click on that preferences right at the bottom, and it'll open up some more account setting information. So we have some general system settings here. With this screen recording, we have the record video options here. There's no Safari browser support, but if you want to change it from a WebM file to an MP4 file size or file type, you can do that with this drop down here. My drops have been opening in a new drop page, and maybe that gets a little bit annoying. Maybe I just want it to copy to my clipboard instead of opening that. I can uncheck this here so that when I take a screenshot or use one of these hotkeys, it's not going to open up a new page. We do have an Explorer integration. If you don't want that, you can uncheck that. And then there's the start at login. So if you want to manually start Droplr up when you start your computer, you can uncheck that. And then lastly, this was developed over the last year. We did add custom hotkeys. So we have the default settings set here, but now we have the ability to be able to change our default hotkeys. So if you have some shortcuts that you like to use that are different than what these are, you can go ahead and change those in these preferences here. So,
Nicole, there's a quick question about whether WebM is supported by Safari or PC Safaris. Can you address that, please?
whether it's supported.
Whether it's supported.
WebM Files, this is no Safari browser support. So we don't I don't think we offer that with there. So you'll have to, if you use Safari as your browser, then you'll have to change this to MP4, but we don't support WebM recording in Safari. So then the last area of this demo that I wanted to address was our dashboard. So if you come to the Droplr app, at the very top, you'll see this go to dashboard, and I'm gonna kind of go over an overview of what this does. So it's a collection of where all your drops are saved, and it's listed under my items here, and I can view all my thumbnails in a bigger preview here, or I can choose to view these as a list mode. So maybe I want to change the title on these a little bit easier, or be able to grab these in a different way. We just have the grid view and the list view options for preferences. And then we also have this sorting option here. So maybe you want to see drops that you created when you first started your account, or on a descended order. We have title, size, views, and activity as well. So you can sort your drops based on these criteria over here. If you select a drop, a little bit about this, you can change the title right in here by clicking on it. You can also see the drop views with this little icon here. And then these three dots here give you a little bit more in-depth options to those same settings that we just went over in the side panel in that drop. If I want to change settings on multiple drops, I can select more than one. If I use my keyboard and select Shift, I can select many drops. And then I have the option to change these drops in a little bit faster fashion. If I'm trying to change maybe 10 to 20 at once, I can copy the link to all those drops, download all 8 of these drops. I can maybe add those to a board, which I'll go over next. And then we have tagging, and then you can manage all of these drops the same way as you would an individual drop. So,
Nicole, a quick couple of questions. First one is, as the creator of a drop, basically, do we see drops that were created by other people who annotated our original drop, and where do we see these?
If someone annotated a drop of yours, it'll go into their Droplr account, and unless they shared that drop with you, you won't see it. If they did share that drop with you, you'll see right here this shared items view. So these are drops of other people's drops that have been shared with me that I have viewed. So unless they shared that drop to you, then you wouldn't be able to see it any other way. If they shared the drop with you and you opened it, it would come over here in this shared items bucket. So over here, we've got boards, and there's a few cool things about boards that we can do. You can create a board for yourself to compile a collection of drops, or you can share that board with somebody else. So I'm going to start by creating a new board. So I'll be able to title that. And maybe I don't want this to just be for me or password protected. I want to set this to public. So once I do that, I have this option to do a public upload. So this means anybody who doesn't have a Droplr account, a client or somebody else that you want them to be able to share files with you, you can toggle this on. And once you share that board link with them, they'll be able to drop any files into that board, and it will create a Droplr link on your account. So once I do that, it's really easy for them to share those files across, and you'll be able to see a collection of more than one file at a time. Over here, we have sharing. So I can invite my entire Droplr team, and then I can choose to have them just be able to read it or edit those. So they'll be able to either add or contribute and remove drops, or just be able to view those drops there. So once I've created that board, it'll go to the bottom of your boards. So I have this Windows webinar option here. I can go in here at any time and edit those settings. So once I have that open, it'll appear as a blank board. I can come in to my items and easily drag these files over there, or I can start from scratch. And let's say I have a file on my desktop. Let's see if I can drag this over. So I have a logo right here. I can just drag this into my board. It will upload that file and create a new link. So the way that you would be able to view this board is click on this link icon here. It'll copy to your clipboard. I'll open up a new browser, hit paste, and as you'll see, this board is a lot longer than a regular drop link. So this can contain anywhere from 1 to 100 drops. So I'll be able to have access and see a little bit more there. So that's a little bit about boards. And if we didn't get to your question today, just write into our support and we'll be happy to address those as well. So we appreciate your time and thank you for hopping on this webinar with us.